Suddenly, the world found itself buzzing with curiosity after Brad Pitt revealed that, out of the many women he had been linked with, one stood apart as the true love of his life. Over the years, his romantic timeline has made headlines time after time, each relationship adding its own layer to his public image. Moving from whirlwind romances with up and coming stars to highly publicized partnerships with award-winning actresses, his life off-screen often matched the intrigue of his film roles. Still, not all stories held the same weight. When the news spread about this heartfelt confession, fans and insiders alike searched for clues in his past loves. Whether it was a chemistry-filled period with Juliette Lewis, an era-defining relationship with Gwyneth Paltrow, the legendary romance with Jennifer Aniston, or the captivating journey shared with Angelina Jolie, each of these relationships brought its own intense spotlight, but apparently only one left a mark profound enough for him to talk about years later. After all the speculation and media frenzy, his honest admission painted a different story than most Hollywood breakups and reunions. Many wondered that, with all the glitz, heartbreak, and new beginnings, the truth behind his declaration might say more about his own personal growth than any of the glamour or scandals that followed him for decades. Yet, in a recent turn that nobody expected, Pitt's famously calm exterior slipped enough for a surprising confession. He spoke not of Jennifer Aniston, whose romance with him was watched by millions, nor of Angelina Jolie, his co-star and partner in a famously complex marriage. Instead, he hinted that the one love who truly made an impact was someone completely unexpected, a girlfriend who stayed out of the spotlight. This wasn't anyone the public could have easily guessed or tracked through tabloids or red carpet photos. For years, Pitt's personal life seemed like an open book, browsed by the world and speculated about by gossip columns. But his quiet reference to this unknown partner unsettled the popular assumptions and left fans full of questions. Off-camera, the actor and producer apparently built a connection with someone who left an indelible mark on his heart, a relationship that outshone even those which filled magazine covers and interview clips for decades. Instead of lending weight only to his high-profile loves, Pitt gave a hint of quiet admiration for the mystery woman who shaped his sentiment in ways the famous names never did, prompting observers to now wonder who, beyond the reach of the cameras, left such a lasting imprint on a man whose romances were always presumed so public. The story rests with the sense that, even with global attention, the most impactful parts of a person's life can remain a well-kept secret. Unexpectedly, the confession creates chaos for anyone trying to piece together Brad Pitt's tangled romantic life, leaving fans and even former partners wondering what was true and what was just tabloid fantasy. Much of his reputation as a notorious serial dater now feels open to question. People start to re-examine old stories, shared glances, and famous relationships with a new kind of suspicion, as if the black and white snapshots of him with his past loves now show only gray uncertainty. Some relationships that were once considered pivotal might have been exaggerated or misinterpreted, and friendly encounters now seem less loaded with hidden meaning than once believed. Pitt, who had been written about endlessly, suddenly seems to slip out of clear view, his private life more mysterious even than before. Meanwhile, the world looks back at his beginnings, remembering that this future Hollywood icon didn't start with spotlights and red carpets. He was just a kid from the Midwest, raised in a middle-class family where celebrity was something found on screens, not in the home. Back then, his dreams couldn't have seemed further from the whirlwind that now surrounds his every move. His early life reads as a story of normal hopes, quiet support from family, and the usual struggles of growing up far from movie premieres or the constant attention of cameras, leaving fans wondering how those roots shaped the man who would become both a superstar and an enigma. Eventually, in 1963, William Bradley Pitt entered the world in Shawnee, Oklahoma. His parents built a close-knit and structured home where Christian values shaped everyday life. His father, committed to providing security for the family, was at the helm of a local trucking company. Meanwhile, his mother nurtured young minds and hearts while she worked as a school counselor. With two younger siblings, Douglas and Julie, family life was full and busy. Soon after Brad's birth, the search for broader horizons and new possibilities prompted the family to move to Springfield, Missouri. This move gave his parents a chance to offer more for their children. Growing up, Brad Pitt lived under the influence of both a strong work ethic and solid community values, learning early about duty, faith, and ambition in a small but growing city. The home in Missouri became a place where each member contributed, shaped by shared meals and daily routines, with his father's business sense and his mother's guiding presence as steady foundations. Growing up in Springfield, Brad Pitt compared his hometown to the landscapes made famous by Mark Twain and Jesse James. The area, filled with hills, lakes, and wide open spaces, helped shape his early years and love for the outdoors. The Midwest environment surrounded him with a natural world full of adventure, offering both calm and opportunity for exploration. At Kickapoo High School, Pitt didn't just blend in, he stood out. On the athletic side, he competed for the school on the golf, swimming, and tennis teams. These sports demanded not just physical ability but also discipline, teamwork, and focus, qualities that would serve him throughout his life. In the classroom, Pitt showed the same determination, balancing strong academics with his other interests. He put effort into his schoolwork, managing the demands of sports and education with skill. Out of the gym and off the playing field, Pitt found his voice in the debate club, sharpening his skills in argument and public speaking. Beyond the rigors of competition and intellectual challenges, he also took to the stage, participating in school musicals. This early experience in performance may have helped spark his interest in the arts, giving him a taste for the creative process and the energy of live performance. Together, these experiences in Springfield, shaped by the environment of the Midwest and the opportunities at Kickapoo High School, formed a strong foundation for his future endeavors in the entertainment world. Eventually, the comfort of routine at the University of Missouri was overtaken by a growing sense of urgency in Brad Pitt. Recognizing that journalism and advertising did not inspire him in the way he'd hoped, he found himself increasingly drawn to the world of film, spending long hours imagining a life on set, rather than in a newsroom or office. Even though he was close to graduating, Pitt couldn't shake the feeling that his ambitions were pulsing far beyond what textbooks offered. As 1986 approached, the calendar's steady march toward graduation only intensified his restlessness. Instead of ordering a cap and gown, he packed his Datsun with whatever would fit and pointed it west, leaving behind the familiar streets of Missouri for the vast unknown of Los Angeles. The journey itself felt symbolic, because Pitt wasn't just driving across states, he was crossing a boundary between old dreams and a new reality. Hollywood represented a chance at reinvention, a place where reinvention itself is practically a local industry. Pitt arrived with little more than student savings, and a determination fueled by the thrill of starting over on his own terms, and in his own time. Arriving in Los Angeles with almost no connections, and just a bit of money, Brad Pitt faced many obstacles at the start of his journey. In those early days, he took on a variety of odd jobs just to get by, working relentlessly to keep afloat, while he chased his dream of becoming an actor. Life wasn't easy, as he had to work these jobs alongside attending acting lessons to sharpen his skills and better his chances in the tough world of Hollywood. Even when the pay was low or the roles were small, Pitt didn't shy away. Instead, he kept his head down and learned as much as he could from each opportunity. Eventually, his hard work began to pay off. In 1987, he started picking up minor roles on television, which helped him gain some experience and visibility. Pitt made brief appearances in several popular shows of the time, including soap operas, dramas, and sitcoms. One example is his appearance on Growing Pains, which gave him a taste of the professional acting world and allowed him to work alongside seasoned actors. Each part, no matter how brief, was another step forward on the path to building a lasting career in a competitive industry. These early experiences shaped his craft, helping him develop the skills and resilience needed to continue pursuing acting against the odds. Even as he struggled, Pitt's persistence during these years set the stage for future opportunities that would come his way. At first, arriving in Los Angeles was tough for Brad Pitt. He landed in the city with hopes of reaching the big screen, but for several years he only found himself in supporting roles in films that hardly anyone saw. The excitement of his move faded as the reality set in. He started to doubt his decision, feeling isolated and uncertain if Los Angeles was where he was meant to be. Many nights passed with little more than worry, and the constant question of whether chasing this dream was worth it, and he described those first years as really depressing. The glamour he'd imagined vanished beneath the weight of those doubts, and the struggle to get by. However, he pressed on, even when the only roles he could find were far from the spotlight. After 4 tough years of bit parts, his luck changed in a big way. Pitt got a supporting role in the 1991 road thriller Thelma and Louise. The part was small, but he threw himself into it, hoping this opportunity would stand out. The role turned out to be crucial for him, not just because of its significance in the film, but because it gave him a chance to show his talent to a wide audience for the first time. That moment marked a turn in his journey, shifting the path of his career and giving him hope where before there had been frustration and doubt. Soon after, Brad Pitt appeared as the charming and effortless drifter in Thelma, and Louise' buzz about his presence swept through Hollywood. The movie story followed a pair of women on the run, but Pitt's character managed to steal the spotlight with just a few scenes. Moviegoers watched as he connected with Gina Davis's On the Lam Louise, and their famous love scene became an instant classic, one that seemed to crystallize his sex symbol status almost overnight. It wasn't just his looks that caught attention. Pitt's easy confidence and raw charisma turned his small role into a launching pad for stardom. The chemistry he shared with Gina Davis was both electric and natural, leaving a mark not just on the film but on pop culture in general. That one sequence catapulted him into the spotlight, setting the tone for a career where he would be known for more than just his appeal, but it was the potent mix of vulnerability and ruggedness that Hollywood couldn't ignore. Producers and directors saw that magnetism, leading to an immediate rush of interest and new opportunities. While other actors had come and gone in minor parts, Pitt's breakthrough struck such a chord that people across magazines, entertainment news, and movie theaters started paying attention to his next moves, and the buzz surrounding his performance only grew as the film gained in popularity. At the start of his career, Brad Pitt knew he could easily get stuck playing the same kind of roles over and over because of his blonde hair, handsome face, and relaxed personality. Instead of settling for being cast only as the good-looking guy or a cowboy-hatted heartthrob, Pitt wanted to prove that he had more to offer as an actor. He made a choice not to stay in his comfort zone and began looking for roles that would show he could handle more than just looks and charm. His performance in 1992's A River Runs Through It became a turning point. In this film, Pitt put aside the kind of laid-back roles that had made him famous, and instead took on a character that let him show a wide range of emotions. People saw a different side to him, noticing the care he put into his character's inner struggles and relationships. This role challenged what audiences had come to expect, and it began to change his image from just another pretty face in Hollywood to someone with genuine talent and seriousness. Pitt's work in this film was proof to critics and viewers that he was not just about appearance or easy roles. He was willing to dive deep into characters, take risks, and show true dedication. This step helped launch a new chapter in his career, laying down the foundation for him to take more challenging and rewarding projects in the years that followed. In the realm of filmmaking, working alongside Brad Pitt has often brought out unexpected depth and intensity in film projects. Director Robert Redford once described the experience of collaborating with Pitt as similar to playing tennis with someone more skilled, someone whose talent forces everyone to stretch themselves, to play better, to grow under the pressure of shared artistry. That dynamic was visible on set and translated to the screen, energizing those around him and raising the stakes of each performance. This effect was especially clear in Pitt's approach to darker, more complex characters early in his career. Taking on the role of Early Grace in the 1993 film California, Pitt left behind the charm that audiences might expect and embraced a brutal edge. The character, a manipulative and chilling serial killer, demanded from Pitt a raw, unsettling energy, and he answered with a performance that was as disturbing as it was mesmerizing. Opposite Juliette Lewis, his portrayal pushed the limits of what audiences had seen from him before, signaling a willingness to take substantial risks as an actor. This balance of collaborative generosity and commitment to challenging roles marked an important moment, setting a standard for the type of immersive and ambitious performances directors could expect when Pitt was on set. Meanwhile, the year following his initial breakout, Brad Pitt stepped into a world much darker than any he had previously explored in his career. Taking on a high-profile vampire role, he teamed up with Tom Cruise and a young Kirsten Dunst in Interview with the Vampire. The film itself was set in a lavish, eerie atmosphere, presenting a striking take on immortality and loneliness. Pitt delivered a courageous performance, portraying a character that was both troubled and sensitive. However, he showed some reluctance to fully embrace the role's more flashy or exaggerated side, a choice that some critics picked apart. As reviews landed, opinions were clearly divided. Some praised his effort and commitment, while others questioned whether his hesitance to go over the top held the film back from true greatness. Despite those mixed reviews, the movie achieved a sort of transformation for Pitt. No longer viewed simply as a handsome face or a rising heartthrob, he firmly captured the world's attention as a true celebrity, moving into a new stage of his career. The boldness of taking such a complicated high-stakes part early in his time at the top showed something essential about his willingness to challenge himself on screen. This risk-taking role marked a turning point, confirming that he was ready to pursue difficult characters, even in the face of uncertainty, and reshaping what audiences expected from him with each project. After capturing attention in earlier films, Brad Pitt in 1995 showed how much range he could offer on screen by starring in both Seven and 12 Monkeys. In Seven, his character, a driven detective determined to catch a serial killer, set him alongside acting heavyweights like Morgan Freeman and Kevin Spacey. Pitt's portrayal didn't get lost in the mix. Instead, he held his own, matching the tension and intensity of the plot. With raw emotion and believable grit, he let audiences feel every step in the dark and grim chase. This wasn't just a straightforward cop film. Pitt's performance added a sense of urgency that made the story's grim turns and shocking end even more powerful. At the same time, 12 Monkeys offered Pitt a chance to show something very different. Taking on a wildly unstable supporting role, he left behind the smooth hero type. Instead, he showed how unpredictable he could be, flashing between manic energy and vulnerability. Together, these two roles earned plenty of praise from critics who saw Pitt step away from simply being a heartthrob and become a genuine talent who could handle tough, layered characters in gritty crime stories. Most importantly, these performances marked a shift. Pitt showed that he wasn't only capable of drawing a crowd, but also of elevating challenging material through skill and grit. After gaining attention for his early roles, Pitt truly stood out with his performance as a mental patient in 12 Monkeys. He pushed aside any expectations, playing the unstable and unpredictable character with a boldness that surprised audiences and critics. This performance was celebrated and earned him the Best Supporting Actor award at the 1996 Golden Globes. Instead of resting on this success, Pitt moved through the late 90s with a hunger for challenging material. He chose roles that were not safe bets, but instead pushed boundaries and tested what people thought they knew about him as an actor. In 7 Years in Tibet, he took on a story based on true events, playing an Austrian mountaineer whose life changes through his experiences in Tibet. The film required sensitivity to diverse cultures and a willingness to engage with complex historical settings. Shortly after, Pitt made another daring choice by acting in Fight Club. The film was provocative, controversial, and did not fit any traditional genre. His character, a charismatic and chaotic figure encouraging rebellion, added to the intensity and depth of the movie. This willingness to take risks shaped not only his reputation but also the kinds of projects he would be known for choosing. Each new film brought a different side of his talent, showing that he was not afraid to surprise, unsettle, or challenge his audience. Even before he stepped in front of the camera as Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt put himself through intense training to prepare for the role. Determined to appear believable as an unpredictable soap salesman with a violent edge, Pitt immersed himself in the world of boxing and martial arts for several months. He trained his body rigorously, focusing not just on physical strength, but also on the kind of endurance and agility that a street fighter like Durden would have in real life. This discipline changed Pitt's physique, making him lean and tough, perfectly fitting the wild and calculating character he had to portray. When Fight Club was released, it immediately stirred up debate among critics, with the movie's dark themes and brutal scenes causing controversy. Despite the divided opinions about the film itself, Pitt's performance stood out and was widely praised for its energy and intensity. Audiences and reviewers alike noted the sense of authenticity he brought to Durden, making the character both disturbing and charismatic. The combination of Pitt's dedicated preparation and his fearless acting style helped to cement Fight Club as a memorable film, with his role leaving a mark in both movie history and popular culture. Eventually, after years of working in film, the actor became recognized as one of the most successful in Hollywood by the end of the decade. However, what truly distinguished him from his peers was his refusal to simply rely on his appearance or early roles that leaned heavily on his good looks. Instead, he began choosing projects that required more than charm, roles that demanded depth, subtlety, and the willingness to be vulnerable on screen. Audiences and critics quickly noticed that his performances were more than just surface level. With each new part, he brought both charisma and an underlying complexity that let his characters feel real and unpredictable. His growth into a serious, versatile leading man was clear in the way he tackled different genres, always seeking out scripts that offered him the opportunity to take risks or to surprise people with an unexpected side of himself. As he continued to evolve, the label of hunk faded, replaced by a widespread acknowledgement of his talents as both an actor and a figure willing to push creative boundaries. Long before Brad Pitt's name was splashed across magazine covers as a Hollywood superstar, his romantic adventures had already become part of his early story in show business. As a young actor in the 1980s, Pitt's charm and striking looks caught attention even before he landed his first major film roles. His rise in Hollywood seemed to go hand in hand with his growing list of beautiful companions, each relationship playing out under the glare of the public eye. During those years, anyone following entertainment news would recognize Brad Pitt, not just for his acting, but for his connections to other up-and-coming stars. His reputation for dating some of the most attractive and sought-after women set the tone for his personal life, becoming as much a topic of conversation as his professional work. What made his early relationships all the more interesting was the way they matched his career trajectory, both moving steadily higher as he became more recognizable. While he gained roles on television and in small films, his teenage and early 20s dating history already hinted that he would be a leading man not only on screen but also off. Pitt's natural magnetism meant that he was often linked with actresses and models who, like him, were at the beginning of exciting careers in film and fashion. Press and fans alike speculated about his dating life, and Hollywood parties, premieres, and sets were often where these relationships first appeared. As a result, Brad Pitt's early years provided plenty of romantic stories that were just as compelling as the scripts he would one day bring to life in movies. This reputation for being seen with Hollywood beauties started building long before he became a household name, giving audiences a preview of the celebrity attention that would later follow him wherever he went. Meanwhile, in the late 1980s, Brad Pitt was carving out his early path in Hollywood, and his personal life was already starting to attract interest. Around this period, he became involved with Sunita, the British pop singer known for her catchy hits and bright personality. Sunita would later reflect on those days with a touch of nostalgia, describing Pitt as a beautiful young man with the most amazing body, a memory that brought a smile to her face many years after their brief fling. This romance was part of Pitt's early Hollywood years, where fleeting relationships sometimes bloomed under the bright lights of ambition and hopefulness. Not long after, Pitt formed a connection with Jill Scullin, an actress he met while both starred in the horror film Cutting Class. Their mutual experience on set led to a quick romance, one that became another chapter in Pitt's early dating history. Scullin and Pitt's relationship drew some attention at the time, adding to the intrigue swirling around the young actor's private life as he worked to establish his career. These early connections, short-lived as they may have been, offered brief glimpses into the beginnings of Brad Pitt's complicated and sometimes public romantic journey. After his previous relationship ended, Brad Pitt found himself drawn to E.G. Daily, an actress and voiceover artist known for her passionate and emotional performances. They connected during a period when each was looking for a deeper creative spark, their mutual appreciation for intense acting becoming the very thing that brought them together. As Pitt began to gain more attention in Hollywood, his romantic life also saw shifts in prominence. Around this same time, he became linked to Robin Givens, who worked with him on the television sitcom Head of the Class. Givens, already making a name for herself, was someone whose rising star seemed to match Pitt's growing recognition. The shift in the visibility of Pitt's partners reflected his changing status in the entertainment industry, with each new relationship turning a brighter spotlight on both him and those he dated. The connections he formed during this period highlighted not just his romantic interests, but also his inclination to bond with creative, driven women who shared his ambitions and dedication to their craft. These relationships came and went as Pitt's own career was taking off, leaving a distinct mark on his early experiences in the Hollywood scene. Back in the late 1980s, Brad Pitt was an up-and-coming actor just beginning to make his way in Hollywood. Around this time, he met Christina Applegate, who had already started to find fame as Kelly Bundy on the television show Married with Children. Their paths crossed while working together on the set of the film Johnny Suede, a dark comedy in which they both played significant roles. The work environment naturally brought them closer, and the connection quickly grew beyond just sharing scenes. Applegate, with her comedic timing and strong presence, and Pitt, with his quiet charm and good looks, found a spark. Their romance became a talking point among entertainment circles, capturing the interest of fans who were always curious about the real lives behind the characters they watched on screen. The relationship between two young actors on the verge of greater stardom carried a feeling of excitement and promise. Both had already demonstrated growing talent. Applegate's experience in sitcoms and Pitt's rising appeal as a leading man created an atmosphere of shared ambition. In this early chapter of Pitt's life, the romance with Applegate stands out as a glimpse into the personal side of a future star's journey, marked by the hope and unpredictability that so often define young love in Hollywood, making it a memorable and talked about part of his early years. Initially, efforts were made to keep things quiet between them, but no matter how careful they tried to be, fans started to notice when they were spotted together in public. Long before the world came to know Brad Pitt the superstar, his relationship with Juliette Lewis stood out among his early romances. Even though both were young actors at the time, their bond was something different. They navigated Hollywood events as a couple, sometimes keeping a low profile, other times being more easily recognized in shared moments. What set this apart from his other early romances was its longevity and depth. He often stayed away from the spotlight, adding a sense of mystery and privacy to their partnership. But their connection was evident through candid pictures taken on city sidewalks or during cozy outings. This made their low-key affection stand out even more in a business where such things rarely stayed private. Their time together, stretching over multiple years in the early 90s, marked not just a romance but also a formative period in Pitt's life before he became a household name. The way they managed attention while still maintaining genuine moments together marked this as not only Pitt's longest pre-fame relationship, but also a clear turning point for him personally. After crossing paths on the set of the NBC TV movie Too Young to Die in 1990, the connection between Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis quickly turned personal. Although both were burgeoning stars, what caught much of the public's attention was not just the start of their romance, but the notable difference in their ages. Lewis was just 17 years old at the time, more than 10 years younger than Pitt. This age gap, paired with Lewis's status as a teenager, became a focus of curiosity and some concern within the entertainment industry and beyond. Their relationship played out against the backdrop of early Hollywood fame, where their dynamic drew as much attention off-screen as their performances did on it. The anticipation surrounding them as a couple was tinged with the knowledge that Lewis was at the very start of her adulthood, while Pitt was already in his late 20s. Over time, their partnership became a frequently revisited point in Hollywood histories, often highlighted as a moment when celebrity romance and age differences pushed conversations about boundaries in high-profile relationships. Despite the scrutiny, the two continued their romance for several years before moving on to other chapters in their lives and careers. The story of their meeting and relationship remains a memorable example of how celebrity lives can shape and be shaped by public opinion and social norms of the time. Often their public appearances lit up celebrity columns as photographers captured them in moments of deep affection, sometimes lost in long kisses or holding each other close during late-night outings. People regularly saw them together at restaurants or concerts, always seeming unaware or simply uncaring of the attention they attracted. Witnesses described a spark between the two that was hard to miss, as they appeared wrapped up in each other, both on and off the screen. Their relationship spanned nearly 4 years, a period marked by not just intense chemistry in their private lives, but also shared professional success. Working together in 2 films only amplified what many believed was a powerful bond, blending their real-life closeness with stories they brought to the big screen. Even after their romance ended, the story didn't just stop. Brad Pitt still spoke openly about his love for Lewis, revealing that feelings lingered past the official breakup. Such confessions sometimes surfaced in interviews, hinting that what they shared was more than a passing affair or Hollywood fling. The depth of their connection, and Pitt's words painted a picture of a relationship that left a lasting mark, both on the two individuals and on all who witnessed their time together unfold in the public eye. Eventually, as the mid-1990s approached, Pitt stood on the edge of major stardom, and his private life came into even sharper focus. On the set of Seven in 1994, he met Gwyneth Paltrow, who was quickly becoming a rising star in her own right. Their attraction grew rapidly, and became one of the most widely followed romances in Hollywood at the time. They stepped into the public eye as a couple, and their faces were splashed across magazines, making them the picture of youthful glamour and promise. Their relationship moved fast, with both sharing red carpet events, industry parties, and interviews, always seeming carefree and deeply in love. It wasn't long before they became engaged and started making plans for marriage, sending tabloids into overdrive and fueling endless speculation about the wedding, their future, and what it might mean for their blossoming careers. However, just months before they were set to walk down the aisle in 1997, the couple made the difficult decision to call off the engagement. When news of the split emerged, the official reason focused on their demanding work schedules, causing sadness for fans who had become invested in their story. The end of this high-profile romance marked a turning point for both, with each going on to new professional successes and life chapters, while the memory of their brief but very public engagement lingered in the pop culture consciousness. Back in 1998, everything shifted for Brad Pitt when he met Jennifer Aniston, lighting the spark of a romance that captivated Hollywood. Their relationship quickly transformed into one of the most talked-about love stories, and by 2000, they were married. The media and countless fans dubbed them Hollywood's golden couple, frequently showcasing a united front at red carpet events with effortless charm and affection. Yet, as their fame grew, behind the scenes, a different story unfolded. Rumors started circulating that Pitt was ready to start a family, while Aniston, driven by her hugely successful acting career, dedicated herself to new roles and opportunities. The tension between their personal desires and professional ambitions would become the foundation for ongoing speculation about their marriage. Paparazzi speculated about possible disagreements, focusing especially on the delicate balance between Pitt's expressed wish for children and Aniston's commitment to continue building on the success she found after Friends. Conversations about their future together became a staple in entertainment news, often highlighting how their individual choices created unspoken challenges in their marriage. By the time 2005 came around, the couple, once considered unbreakable, separated, leading to widespread speculation about what truly caused the downfall of their union. During this period, their every move sparked passionate discussion among viewers, with fans scrutinizing interviews and appearances for subtle hints about what may have gone awry. Although they maintained poise and dignity in public, it became clear that the combination of intense career demands and differing dreams was at the core of their separation, leaving behind the memory of what many had hoped would be a perfect Hollywood partnership. Initially, the meeting between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie was just another big movie set, with the pair cast as a married couple caught up in an action comedy story for Mr. and Mistress Smith. However, working together led to intense chemistry that soon evolved into a passionate real-life romance. The growing bond between them did not stay hidden for long, as their connection grew stronger both on and off the set. They became one of the world's most recognized couples, a relationship so high-profile that it gained its own nickname, Brangelina. Together, their story was not only about their partnership, but also about building a large and diverse family. Following their time together on set, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie brought their relationship into the public eye, while at the same time making important life decisions as a couple. They chose to expand their family by having 3 biological children together, welcoming these children as new joys in their lives. At the same time, they shared a strong commitment to adopting children from different backgrounds, bringing 3 adopted children into their home. Their family unit quickly became known for its size and the mix of biological and adopted children, adding a unique chapter to each of their personal journeys, with Pitt taking on new responsibilities not just as a partner, but as a father to a blended group of children. Their time in the spotlight as a couple was defined as much by their dedication to family as by their fame in Hollywood. After years of being one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples, their marriage came to a sudden end in 2016 when Jolie filed for divorce. What seemed like a fairy tale relationship quickly turned complicated, as their breakup led to a long and heated custody battle that attracted non-stop attention. Both the legal process and the public spotlight made the split even more difficult, with every move closely examined by the media. In the aftermath of this very public separation, in April 2018, reports began to circulate that Pitt had found companionship again, this time with Neri Oxman. She stood out not only as an architect, but also as a respected MIT professor, sparking a fresh wave of interest and speculation around Pitt's personal life. Their connection was seen by some as a shift for Pitt, who was moving out of the shadows of his past relationship and sharing time with a new person known for her intellect and creative work. This story, coming after years spent under scrutiny during and after the high-profile split, marked a new chapter as Pitt navigated his relationships and public image amid ongoing changes in both his private and professional world. After late 2022, Brad Pitt became the subject of renewed headlines as he appeared at a Bono concert accompanied by Ines de Ramon, sparking widespread speculation about a budding romance. The two have been seen together at several high-profile events since then, catching the public's eye and feeding interest in Pitt's personal life. This new relationship has unfolded against a backdrop of controversy that has followed Pitt for years. His life away from the camera has often drawn as much attention as his film work, particularly when it comes to legal issues and ongoing relationship drama. Pitt's past has included legal disputes, which have repeatedly made the news and influenced how people talk about him. Intricate questions about his role as a parent have further fueled the media firestorm, with stories of questionable parenting circulating in the press. These incidents, along with the highly publicized changes in his romantic life, continue to keep Pitt in the conversation, showing how his off-screen actions can be as captivating, divisive, and talked about as his professional projects. Suddenly, Brad Pitt's public life took a dramatic turn in 2016 during a flight on a private plane, when a serious altercation occurred between him and Angelina Jolie. Angelina alleged that Brad was physically and verbally abusive towards her as well as their children while on board. These accusations made headlines and caused a wave of speculation about what really happened during those hours in the sky. After the incident, the couple's marriage quickly dissolved, triggering a complicated and lengthy custody battle over their 6 children. Both sides brought forward claims, and the legal process dragged on for years, with many developments playing out in the public eye. Questions about Brad's behavior and the well-being of the children became regular topics for reporters and fans alike, overshadowing much of his professional work as a producer and actor. Rumors, statements from legal teams, and court documents were frequently leaked, amplifying the tension between Brad and Angelina. The incident and its fallout highlighted the difficulty of separating personal struggles from public personas, especially for two people as famous as Brad and Angelina. Throughout the custody battle, both parents fought for what they believed was best for their children, though the mistrust and pain from the plane incident shaped almost every step of the negotiation. Despite several attempts to settle matters privately, disagreements over visitation, therapy, and decision-making remained unresolved for a long time, keeping the story in the headlines and fueling ongoing debate. The experience marked a turning point in how Brad Pitt was seen by the world, shifting the narrative away from his film career and toward intense public scrutiny of his role as a father and former husband, without clear closure on the personal and legal conflicts at the core. After Angelina Jolie sold her share of the winery she once co-owned with Brad Pitt, headlines began focusing not only on disagreements about business, but also on the deeply personal legal disputes that followed. The sale happened without Pitt's consent, which quickly became a major point of conflict between the two. As court filings emerged, public attention shifted to the legal battle where Pitt was portrayed in a troubling light, especially amid accusations tied to violent behavior. Reports detailed allegations that Pitt not only acted aggressively toward Angelina, but also behaved abusively in the presence of their children. Media coverage amplified these claims, making the situation difficult for Pitt's public image. Every development in the dispute over the winery seemed to trigger another wave of scrutiny about his personal conduct. Pitt's legal team maintained his opposition to Jolie's sale, but the broader narrative was dominated by the disturbing accounts reported by various sources. As the lawsuits dragged on, and new information became public, perceptions about Pitt shifted among some of his longtime fans. The combination of the business betrayal he felt, the unresolved legal wrangling, and the accusations of violence painted him as both a wronged partner and a polarizing public figure. With every legal update came a renewed round of social media debate, especially when the discussion turned to the well-being of the children and the fairness of the sale. However, when looking at the case involving Brad Pitt, some campaigners have argued that the FBI's choice not to press charges highlights the way famous people can benefit from their status. Many believe that if an ordinary person was in the same situation, the outcome might have been very different. These claims point to what critics describe as celebrity privilege, where influence and recognition can sway investigations or legal decisions. Some campaigners have gone further, suggesting there is gender bias in play, hinting that public figures who are men can sometimes avoid consequences more easily. Despite years passing since the initial controversies and scandals around Pitt's split, There remains a sharp divide among the public about how to respond. People's opinions about who is right or wrong seem mixed, and often change as new information comes to light. Sympathy for each party is far from universal, and many debates continue about the role of status, gender, and media coverage in shaping public understanding and legal outcomes. While some defend Pitt and feel he was unfairly targeted, others argue that his position protected him from facing the kind of repercussions others would. This ongoing conversation reflects wider social frustrations about celebrity justice and how deeply people care about fairness in the legal system. Suddenly, Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis found themselves on the set of Too Young to Die in 1989, and nothing would be the same after. Their eyes met for the first time under the bright lights and tension of a film shoot. The story of their meeting soon became legend among cast and crew. From the start, the energy between them was electric, so noticeable that even the smallest moments seemed charged with possibility. People talked about how they just seemed to fit in each other's presence, moving through scenes with an ease that wasn't just acting. Brad, still making his way in Hollywood, was struck by Juliette's intensity and unique charm. She was bold, unapologetic, and brought out a more daring side in him. In interviews later, they both admitted that their chemistry was immediate and impossible to ignore. Their relationship during those years was marked by adventure and restlessness, always attracting the curious attention of onlookers wherever they went. Even though Hollywood is full of short-lived romances, theirs stood out because it seemed so genuine and fiery right from that first encounter. People close to them noticed how the lines between script and reality sometimes blurred, as their connection became not just part of the movie, but a scene that played out off camera each day as well. Over time, stories about their moments together, on and off the set, only grew, tackled in magazines, and whispered about during late-night interviews. That chance meeting in 1989 became the spark for a dramatic and unforgettable Hollywood romance, setting the tone for a love story that outshone so many others in memory. Yet even as the cameras fixated on their every move, the fascination with Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis only seemed to grow. Each outing, interview, and photograph was dissected by the public, fueling an obsession with their romance. The pair never tried to hide from the spotlight or craft a false narrative for the press. Instead, they met the attention with surprising upfront honesty. Pitt's open confession of love, calling Lewis the love of his life, captured headlines and further cemented their status as the era's most glamorous couple. At that time, their chemistry could not be denied, and their willingness to share private details made them both more relatable and unreachable. Still, existing in that relentless glare brought mounting strains. The relationship struggled under the weight of expectations and scrutiny. By 1993, the unending attention had worn them down, transforming passion into friction and making the breakup anything but peaceful. The fallout was dramatic, and stories of their split echoed for months after. Nonetheless, in the eyes of the public, their relationship was never truly over. Instead, it evolved into legend, a glitzy symbol of 1990s Hollywood, signifying not only youthful romance but also ambition, excess, and heartbreak. Even after moving on, neither Pitt nor Lewis could fully shake the aura of what they had represented. With nostalgia coloring the past, theirs remains an example of a love story caught on camera, touched by real feeling, but ultimately undone by circumstances beyond